Imagine waking up to find an entire town, its people, its buildings, its very existence, simply gone. Not a trace, save for an official file immediately stamped, "Top Secret." This isn't the stuff of folklore or forgotten legends. This is the chilling account of Oakhaven, a remote logging community in the Pacific Northwest that, one crisp autumn night in 1947, vanished from the face of the earth, leaving behind only an impenetrable wall of silence and a sealed government document. Oakhaven was never a bustling metropolis. It was a cluster of some 200 souls, carved out of an ancient forest, sustained by the relentless work of felling timber. Life there was hard, honest, and predictable. Kids chased each other through sawdust-scented air, wives canned vegetables for the harsh winters, and men shared stories over lukewarm coffee at the general store, their hands scarred by years of hard labor. The town had a schoolhouse, a small clinic, a church, and a single dirt road connecting it to the nearest supply depot, nearly 80 miles away. It was a place where everyone knew everyone, where secrets were few and far between. The last normal day in Oakhaven was October 17, 1947. Accounts from the supply driver, a man named Silas Thorne, described a typical Friday afternoon. He delivered flour, fuel, and mail, exchanged pleasantries with Old Man Hemlock at the store, and saw children playing a game of stickball near the creek. He even remembered Mrs. Gable complaining about her stubborn mule, Bessie, refusing to pull the plow. Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing to suggest that within hours, this entire tableau of ordinary life would be erased. When Silas returned with his next delivery 3 days later, on the morning of October 20, he found nothing. The winding dirt road, usually marked by the occasional rut and the scent of pine, felt unnaturally still. As his old truck crested the final rise overlooking where Oakhaven should have been, his breath caught in his throat. The houses were gone. The general store, the schoolhouse, the mill, all of it. Not burned to the ground, not swept away by flood. Simply absent. The ground itself seemed undisturbed, as if the buildings had never been there at all. Silas, a practical man not given to flights of fancy, at first thought he'd taken a wrong turn, an impossibility on the only road into the valley. He drove slowly, disoriented, until he reached the approximate center of where the town square should have been. The well, a prominent landmark, was gone. Even the concrete foundations of the mill, poured just years earlier, had vanished without a trace. His heart hammered in his chest. What force could achieve such a meticulous, complete eradication? He immediately drove back to the nearest ranger station, his story met with skepticism, then growing alarm. Within hours, a small team of rangers and local law enforcement was dispatched. What they reported back was even more unsettling. Silas had not exaggerated. Oakhaven was indeed gone. The trees surrounding the former town site stood as if untouched, their leaves still clinging to branches in hues of amber and gold. There was no smoke, no debris field, no sign of any struggle or evacuation. Just an inexplicable void where a community had thrived for decades. The initial confusion quickly escalated into a full-blown federal investigation. Within 24 hours, the military arrived, sealing off the entire valley. The few local officials who had been on site were instructed to remain silent, their initial reports immediately confiscated. A perimeter was established, enforced by armed soldiers, and no one, not even other government agencies, was allowed past it. It was then, amidst the shock and the burgeoning conspiracy theories, that the file was created, and almost instantly, classified beyond all access. What knowledge, what truth, could possibly necessitate such an extreme, immediate lockdown? Whispers, of course, refused to be contained by barbed wire. Trappers and prospectors in the distant hills spoke of strange lights in the sky in the days leading up to the disappearance. One elderly First Nations woman, known for her prophetic dreams, claimed to have seen the earth swallow itself in that valley, pulling everything down into a silent abyss. These tales, however outlandish, served only to underscore the profound lack of a rational explanation. There was no earthquake recorded, no volcanic activity, no meteor strike. The official statement, released weeks later through a terse military press conference, attributed the event to an unprecedented localized geological subsidence event. Essentially, they claimed the town had simply collapsed into a sinkhole. Yet, no crater was ever visible, no significant shift in the surrounding landscape, and satellite imagery from the time, crude as it was, showed no major disturbance. Furthermore, experts quickly pointed out that a subsidence event of that magnitude would leave enormous, undeniable scars on the Earth, not a pristine, empty space. The official narrative felt less like an explanation and more like a carefully constructed smokescreen. Among the confiscated local reports was a chilling detail, leaked years later by a retired sheriff's deputy haunted by the memory, a journal entry. It belonged to Dr. Alistair Finch, Oakhaven's only physician, known for his meticulous observations. His final entry, dated October 17, detailed an unusual phenomenon. He wrote of a subtle, deep hum, almost imperceptible, that had begun pervading the valley days earlier. It was causing headaches, irritability, and for some, vivid, disturbing dreams. "It feels like the air itself is vibrating," he wrote, "and I swear, the compass in my office has begun to spin erratically, even when no metal is near." This entry abruptly ended mid-sentence. Could this hum have been connected to the vanishing? The sealed file, known internally by a single alphanumeric code, Project Chimera, reportedly contained not just Finch's partial journal, but also soil samples, atmospheric readings unlike anything ever recorded, and photographs. The nature of these photographs remains one of the most guarded secrets. Were they images of what was there, or perhaps, what was left? Or did they depict something far more disturbing, something that defied conventional explanation and was deemed too dangerous for public consumption? To this day, no one outside a select few has ever seen the complete contents of Project Chimera. The long shadow of Oakhaven stretches across the history of unexplained phenomena. For decades, the valley remained a restricted zone, patrolled regularly. Even now, the air there carries a strange, almost imperceptible stillness, a quiet echo of the community that once was. Locals tell their children stories of the Ghost Valley, warning them never to stray too close, never to listen for the hum that sometimes, they say, still lingers on the wind. What kind of force can erase an entire human settlement without leaving a trace? Was it an unknown natural phenomenon, a secret governmental experiment that spiraled out of control, or something far more alien, something that operates outside the boundaries of our known physics? The complete, pristine disappearance of Oakhaven, followed by the immediate and ironclad sealing of its investigation, suggests a truth so profound, so unsettling, that those in power believed humanity was simply not ready to face it. It leaves us with a terrifying question: if an entire town can vanish overnight, and its story buried so deeply, what else are we truly unaware of, existing just beyond the edge of our perception? The unseen archive holds many such secrets. But few are as utterly absolute as the fate of Oakhaven.